Sweet.
We are live.
Yeah, episode 91.
Oofed.
Joined today by a returning guest, all the way back from episode 17, I think.
17, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Bit of a full circle moment because it was just me and you the last time that we were in here, and Lee actually watched the episode and got in touch with me. Not like he was like, episode 91, I'll be there, we'll do this properly, but studio looked a bit different at the time.
Yeah,
and
just a little bit, yeah.
behind you there was a mop, which I hadn't got out of shot, and he brought up, it was really good, but all I could focus on was the mop, and I'm like, really? Come on. But so I got rid of the mop, and this is how this happened. So
it's looking pretty damn good.
It is looking, I'm quite proud of how it's looking, to be honest. I don't like to give myself a pat on the back. But,
You should though. You should, yeah.
It's but yeah, how's life been since the last time that we spoke in person?
It was COVID, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Or was it still like, it was kind of the end, but coming out of COVID kind of time?
The debrief.
The debrief, yeah. Well, I got COVID in Christmas of that year, 2021. Yeah. Yes, I remember. Yeah. I remember that too, yeah.
Worst musical of all time, COVID at Christmas.
Oh, I know, yeah. Got it in the golf club in Bucky, or in Buckpool. Like, we played like this party night, and they're like, we had like, the band had like a New Year's gig booked as well.
You play golf there? I was like,
no. I used to play golf. No. But no, we did this gig there, and we had like New Year booked it as well, like, you know, in Pins, and we're like, it's gonna be really good. And then 2 of us get COVID from that gig, and then New Year cancelled.
Fuck.
That was okay. It is what it is. What do you do? Eh? Like,
yeah. I mean, I had a family member test positive, so I was in until New Year's Eve, and like I'd been around this so much that I was like, I'm the vaccine myself, like I'm the only one that can't get this. So I was getting a bit brave around it, and I didn't want someone to isolate at Christmas. I was like, you don't have to stay in your bedroom, whatever. And then Boxing Day, I just started going, and I was like, wait, this could just be my mind playing tricks on me. What they call the LFT things at the time. God, flows. I'm so glad that they're not a thing anymore.
I had such a different COVID experience to everyone else because my missus and kids didn't have it at the time, and she was like, just lock yourself in a room for a week, and I'm like, fantastic. Ideal, no problem. Enough food and drink for the week? Yep, excellent. See you in a week.
I've never had a headache like that though. That headache was something that I've never experienced before in my life.
Were you guys the same? Did you just have like a really rough 24 to 48 hour period?
Yeah, definitely. Like sleeping on that first night was just like, I felt like all my bones needed to crack, and I was just like, almost like I was kind of manipulating myself into weird
my fingers
positions.
Were tingling and stuff like
loads of stuff like that. And you know, like, it was like the token story of like, my boyfriend or my girlfriend got COVID, but then she came back and I never got it. Well, that never happened. Like, I got COVID, came back, Jen got COVID like 2 days after.
Oh, man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Sorry about that. Yeah. It was, it absolutely wasn't like, it's not the worst I've ever felt in my life, but it was probably in the top 10, maybe, for that couple of days. But then afterwards, it was okay. Yeah.
I would kind of describe it as something that, because I was fine for like 2 days, and I was kind of a bit freaked out because we'd heard so much about it, and that was like, wow, it's finally here.
Yeah.
And then it was literally as soon, I mean, this could go tinfoil hat real quick, but as I was putting down the phone to test and trace, that's when the symptoms started. Like, I went to brush my arms, like, ow, that really hurt. But I was next to a blanket right on the couch because the fever and chills and all that came, and the family member that had it had been told by a doctor, in any case, do not use a blanket because it will prolong this. And, what's the Oscar Wilde saying? I could resist anything but temptation. Yep. So there's me on a couch for like 6 hours, which felt like 24, staring this blanket in the face. But I didn't do it. I David Goggins it out, and it was better the next day. But it was more getting over it, and it sucked that you were like 8 days, 7 days, and I feel fine, but I can't leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an MMA fighter who got it, and he was just like, a day afterwards, he's like, just did a little workout, had some blueberries and whatever, trying to keep my vitamins and what else up, and I'm not too bad. And I'm like, I just had paracetamol and cocktails. That's that worked for me, man. That was good. That was good too.
But anyway, I think of the past now, COVID to an extent.
No, it never happened.
Yeah.
It didn't exist apart from the debt that we have from it.
That still gets brought up in rumours. But
that's our first COVID warning in a good few episodes.
we don't get it anymore because the World Health Organization has declared the pandemic over.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
Our streak of 40 is over.
So do the old ones still exist?
No, they've removed them.
Wow.
No, they have removed them now.
Well done. An actual decent decision for once.
Yeah, because it wasn't like we were saying like if you take that your head will grow, and we were just saying the pandemic, and because the algorithm would pick it up, and because the whole Rogan stuff was going on when he had like some professor from some university being like they're taking our freedoms, they were like, right, we've got a blanket this.
We genuinely had a little bit of fear for a little while because it was like, if we're going to take down the big guys, the wee guys are absolutely screwed.
Yeah. We've just got the video on Spotify, for God's sake. But anyway, we'll get into music.
Yeah.
So the last time that you were on, we talked about NYC and Picture.
Yep.
You've since released 3 singles since you were last here.
3 more. Yeah.
Ready to Go Back, which you kind of went into, I believe, on the kind of going back to COVID again. We can't get away from it. I know. The introversion of someone that kind of liked the lockdown experience and was kind of intimidated by going back into everyday life, really. So how did that kind of idea come about? And
I think it was just it came from just everybody's kind of thought, I cannot wait until like till the restrictions are lifted. You can't wait until you can get back out to doing things again or get back to the kind of the way the world was. And then I kind of was on the like I didn't like mind it too much. Like, to be honest, like, not like it wasn't the most fun being locked up in your house and stuff like that, and not being able to socialize and do whatever else. But like, it was quite a productive time for me because I managed to kind of just like have nothing else to worry about and just focus on writing music and making music and kind of getting out to people through like live streams and stuff like that too. So I actually found that I was kind of reaching more people even though I wasn't going out as much.
I remember them live streams.
Yeah.
Requests. I gave you a request.
You did, yeah. We did. It was
Queens of the Stone Age
cover. I would want to make it with you. That was the one. Yeah, I remember that
song.
one. Yeah. So that it kind of came about from that. It was like a lot of people obviously wanted to get back to the sort of social normality, but like I think a lot of people have changed in terms of how they want to work now. How it's changed a lot of people's perspective on life, I think.
Do you see that out in the pubs because you're gigging and things? Do you see a different atmosphere in the pubs and that these days when you're gigging compared to pre-COVID?
I would say atmosphere-wise, maybe not too much, but the thing that's shocked me probably the most is how busy it's gotten now compared to how it was before. Yeah. Like with like cost of living and everything like that, I honestly thought that like this year I was going to be probably like having a bit of a struggle to get bookings, and I was like fully booked by March.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Really good. And it all seems to be more local to this area as well.
Yep.
Which is another thing which never seemed to happen. I was always like going to be going to Inverness practically Inverness, Aviemore, out with like Elgin in the local area and that. Whereas now I seem to be getting a much nicer kind of spread of things that are closer to the doorstep.
Do you think there's the music scene's picking up locally?
Seems to be, 100%, yeah.
Especially with things like McMurray Music Festival. And
McMurray's been good. They're not my kind of bands.
No,
they go there. But I think it's good. It's good for the area as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I think this year's one as well definitely took. I mean, the first year, like we were saying, it was, not trying to be disrespectful, but it was some acts that probably wouldn't be getting the mainstream attention that they had been 10 years beforehand. But I thought it was good that they gave like local artists a chance, like Tom was up, Matt Ta was there this year as well, weren't they? So I think that's a good idea if they can kind of rub the effect off of people going to see Cascada and Venga Boys and whoever was there to seeing local acts. I think that's a really positive thing going forward, as well as people enjoying themselves, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've also got, well, funnily enough, we're speaking about it on the day of the festival. You've got Belladrum, which is only 40 miles away.
Yeah.
Which will pretty much take in the pool of local talent for their smaller stages or seedling stages, opening bigger stages for bigger acts and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely to have two quite large music festivals, I would say probably of over 10,000 people each within 40 miles of each other is quite big for the area.
It's really good.
Have you seen an effect on things like the ironworks closing down and things like that? Does that kind of affect you down to a local level, or
not me as such? Because the ironworks kind of was I would almost kind of describe it. It was kind of like the venue that I think a lot of bigger acts would have used as kind of the pre-tour kind of thing. It seemed to be anyway. Like I seen Feeder there about a few years back or so.
I remember if I've seen there. The View, I think I've
the
seen
View,
it.
It's. I think it's bad when any venue like that shuts down because obviously like there isn't a lot for like originals and stuff like that. But it's.
Who would you say is like the go-to place locally now for a bigger act? Would you say there isn't necessarily a place it's got to go to somewhere like Bucked Park or something? There's not an actual venue for it.
Not really, no.
The Loft maybe probably the biggest.
Yeah, maybe. And again, you're still looking at that pre-tour type thing because obviously, you know, Mumford and Sons played there. Remember that before they got their Brit
Biffy
Award.
Played there.
Biffy played there as well. So before they got their Brit Award and they went kind of quite commercially massive, they played like the Loft like a month or so before that. And
you mentioned the View. I think they were there as well at one point.
Yep.
And I'm trying to remember. There was the guy that kind of got outed for not writing his own songs.
no, sorry.
Jake Bug. Was that the guy? Jake Bug? Do you remember that guy?
Jake Bug, yeah, I remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Did he get out for not?
Allegedly.
Wow.
I haven't got the allegedly button on there yet, so I'll specify allegedly.
You just have a little alarm that comes up with allegedly. Just the views and opinions are those held by the
a little disclaimer.
not by the podcast, but by the individual.
Views and opinions are of my own.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did kind of seem to almost kill the hospitality and along with that kind of the music industry, especially in this area where hospitality is like the main kind of driver for gigging around here for musicians.
It's a big one. Mm-hmm.
But we mentioned Belladrum. You've played Belladrum, right? Last year. What was that like?
It was good fun. It was good fun. It was good to. I was on the grassroots. No, or
Seedlings.
It could have been that one. Yeah. I can't remember. But I was there. It was good fun. The team were brilliant, and I got a good crowd of people that come along to see us as well. So that was always good fun. It's not the first time I'd played Belladrum.
Oh really?
No. So I'd played with Midnight a few years prior. We like a bit of a funny story. We got a last minute opportunity to play like busking type thing, right? And the image that they had was like someone, you know, like amped up and stuff like that. And then when we got there, we found out, oh no, they mean literally just
play.
Busk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no PA, no nothing. Just go to like a spot in Belgium and just start playing.
Did you get to play that little stage up at the bar that people come up to and you can just kind of put your guitar on and kind of go for it? I think that it's pretty much in the main arena. I've been to Belladrum too many times. I've got a few stories from there I could tell you. But I remember being a little stage looking onto the bar, and there was like a load of hay bales round about it and things like that. And you used to get a lot of the busking stages there. And
I think that maybe what is it like? Yes, like almost as you would have came in from like the performer's side, like in a big kind of tent kind of thing. Oh yeah. I know exactly where you are. No, it wasn't that.
No.
It wasn't that. It was just we were going to just random spots, and you had to go and play. And then we're like, I was like, I didn't go to a stag do for this, you know. And I'm like, you know, Darkness was cool, but I'd rather went to the stag do if I'm honest, you know. So me being me, I complained on email to who booked the spot and said it was advertised as there was going to be PA because there was like some kid with an acoustic by Jack coming out of it. So I was like, you know, but then it worked. The next year we got onto the kind of this. It's the stage that overlooks the main stage next to the bar as you come in.
I know the one you're on.
We were onto that one, so that was the next year, and that was good too. I can't just seem to get any consistency with Belladrum. I got last year I was there, but that was a cancellation from COVID 2020. So that was like
I was 2 years in the making.
2 years in the making to get there, and then I like messaged the team and I'm like, oh, you know, thank you so much. You know, fantastic. I'd love to come play again. You know, just you know, and I messaged the Belladrum page to let me know like where do I need to go to put in an application for this year. no reply. And then when I looked up like February, March, like applications for this year have closed. I'm like, well, okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. You know, these things happen, but I'll get back on it again.
Yeah,
you know, I will
absolutely.
get back on it again. It's just one of them things.
Good little festival.
It is a great festival. Yeah. I think what it seems to get is it's a family friendly festival.
Yep.
And that's what I think really kind of hails it for like up in this area, is that people enjoy it because it really, apart from the guy getting punched last year, I don't think there's been like any major safety or any kind of problems with it, has there? It's generally regarded to be a very good atmosphere.
I think there's probably I'm going to say about 15 to 20,000 people go to Belgium, and I'm going to say a handful of arrests every year, maybe. If that.
Yeah, if that.
And everyone's really friendly. Everyone's in fancy dress, doesn't matter. Like, everyone's very comfortable being in fancy dress at Belgium and things like that. Like, I'm not a fancy dress person, but every year I was there, I was in fancy dress, you know, which is like,
as you do.
Yeah. We get my face.
Get out your comfort zone, like sir.
That's where you can be myself.
Yeah.
But what about, because how long has Belgium been going on for? Because I could be totally wrong here.
2006.
Yeah, so
is that long?
Yeah.
Because I remember there used to be, was it Rock Nest as well?
Nest,
yeah. But that stopped in like 2012, 2013, something like that.
My first Belgium was 2008. My last one was 2019. And
right.
I missed one in between.
Right, okay.
So,
I never realised it had been going that long.
Yeah, the very first year you had people like, I couldn't even tell you.
No.
I couldn't even tell you. I remember the Alabama 3 were like very early. Like they were 2007, 2008 kind of time. The Dangleberries used to be the headliner.
Oh, okay.
So that's like they opened the festival these days at 12 o'clock. They would be nowhere near a main stage these days.
No.
Because they're just like, it's pop music on the bagpipes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good. It's good if you've got a few shots in you and you want to go and have a dance and things like that. But if you ever actually listen to it sober, it's like this is quite bad. Like, I've heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're really good.
Yeah.
They're really good, and they're just like a knockoff version of them.
Right.
So
the Wish.com.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Alibaba.
Yeah. Just going back to the singles that you've released, My Little Heart was the next one, and this kind of ties in with another question. It was one that you did a music video for.
Yeah.
What's the music video process like? Because I have seen some posts on your page where, is it DaVinci Resolve that you use to edit these and stuff like that? Yeah. So like, what's the process from getting it filmed to editing it to like getting it out there?
Filming, you have an idea and it just goes nothing like that. I always have grand ideas for what my music videos are, probably over what my skill level is to actually get content of and film. But no, we just get footage and we get it all together. Resolve was a total find in the dark for video editing. Before that, I was using, what's it, Movie Maker, or whatever the Apple one is.
The Apple one, yeah.
I was using that, and I was like, you can put 2 videos at a time or something like that. This is no use. Like, I can do a bit more than that. And it just helps to have, I think, something a little bit visual to go with it. Like music, it does seem to help a little bit more with, you know, kind of getting some views and things like that. But yeah, I get all this footage, right? And then I'm like, you maybe they say you sit there analyzing it, and I'm like, it's just me making stupid faces or walking about places. I'm like, it doesn't matter what you put in, just put something together. But I'm like, I know, and I need to have this bit here, and I'm painting this little picture of just me walking around places. Like, I'm definitely not going to be a director anytime soon, but no, it's fun. It's fun to do that.
Yeah,
kind of too.
I think there's more fun and tedious parts to it, right?
Yeah.
One thing that I learned kind of from like making the film process is we had to shoot a lot more than what we actually needed to give ourselves options. So a 25-minute video, we had to sift through
probably like
5 hours of footage.
Yeah, I was going to say hours of content.
But that was fun as well, because the 3 of us that made it actually sat down and kind of had a good laugh about certain things that had happened, which didn't make the final cut. But DaVinci Resolve is a very useful tool. I've had a peruse of it myself, mainly because it's free and it gives you a lot for not having to pay for it. And even if you do want to upgrade to the paid version, it's a one-off payment rather than, you know, charging a monthly basis or annually or whatever. So, But yeah, and Don't Spend This One Alone kind of speaks for itself, really, with the video and that, in terms of the Christmas element to it. Something that you'd always want to do, like a holiday song, or
I had that in the bank from years ago. Like it's gone through so many different names for what the song was, and then I sat down. I was like, I've got this here. It was recorded on an old desk that I had from years back. I'm like, I can just my producing skills have got to a point where I could just take this and I can make it sound good. So I did that, and I just thought, let's just get something out. I don't really mind if it's gets much attention or if it doesn't get much attention. It was just kind of something that I wanted to kind of put out with because you don't think about it, do you? You know, if I suppose I'm guilty of it. You know, you're there and you're like, where am I going for Christmas this year? Because there's multiple options sometimes open to like all of us, and then you're like, what about the people who are like who've got nothing?
Yeah,
you know, or you know, it's maybe like not their turn this year with their kids or something like that, and that's. So it just got me kind of thinking about, like, you know, think about your friends this year at Christmas and kind of whatever. And that, I just wanted to kind of get something out, really. And yeah, it just felt the right song at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I take it there was like a load of stock footage used there and
that. Yeah. All the stock footage. Yeah.
I was like, either it's stock footage or you've upgraded massively with the camera crew and stuff like that. Yeah,
there's like 3 frames that use me in it.
Yeah.
There you go. See if you can find me 3 times. Yeah. And yeah, one of them just happened to be I was driving home from a gig, and I was like, it was like I for some reason we got like a massive winter like this year, so I decided to just kind of pull over at the side and look really sad and like put my head in my hands and stuff like that. But it fitted with like the atmosphere of the song, so it was good. Yeah.
So gigging now, we've kind of touched on this already with the local and that, and you've obviously went far and wide. Sometimes you mentioned with Davy Moore at Inverness, but I also noticed that you went to Dundee a few times. Yeah. How did that kind of come about? How did that? Because it's a bit of a left field kind of place in it.
Yeah, totally. Coming back
Dundee's
to
awesome, man.
It's good. It's good fun. I've got a couple of good stories from Dundee. We'll get them in a minute. But anyway, so back in kind of COVID, I got like asked to play for this group called Jim the Jannies.
All right, okay.
Right.
What a name.
Yeah, Jim the Jannies. Yeah. I was like, yeah, okay.
You can tell that's been just like somebody from their childhood, and then they've named it after them. And it's like
it's literally after a guy, just one guy, like a guy that Jimmy Young, and
I had George the Johnny at my school.
George the Johnny. See, the thing is, to this day, I don't know if he's actually a Johnny. Like, I hope he is. Like, you know, because otherwise it's going to be a weird name. But yeah, so this group garnered like 50,000 followers. This group in Dundee that was literally just this collection of like really good pals in Dundee, and they started bringing on musicians from obviously from there. They're all like, you know, they're all singers themselves and kind of work in kind of entertainment and stuff like that. So, but then they just started bringing other people on. So I got asked to play for them, and I played, you know, gigs for this group, you know, loads of times over like the course of lockdown, just little live streams and stuff like that. And I was like, right, well, they're all in Dundee, so I'm going to come down to Dundee and play. I went down to one. They had a charity night, and they asked me to come to it, and they blatantly even said they didn't think I was going to turn up. Like, yeah, so because I wouldn't regularly do it, but it was still kind of coming out of COVID kind of time, and it was a charity event for a young boy who had leukemia. And they all like dressed up, did this massive live stream, held it in the upstairs of one of their kind of local bars, and it raised like a good bit of money for him. So I came along like for a half an hour set and just got the chance to meet them all. And then once I'd kind of got there, I was like, right, I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a weekend's worth of. I think initially I went in February last year, did I think maybe just the one gig, and then went out with them and just had a good time, like going out drinking with these guys. And then the next time I came, I stayed with one of the guys and had, you know, four gigs over the course of this weekend, and yeah, done that. I was supposed to actually be there last week, but I called up the guy I was going to stay with, Billy, and I was like, oh, you know, it's still good to come and stay with you. He's like, yeah, no problem at all. When is it you're coming down? You know, it's weekend just passed, and he's like, oh, we're all the way to Rewind. Okay, right. Yeah, so I only at that point had the one gig booked in, because I kind of when I did the 4, I didn't really get a chance to catch up with people. I was just essentially going from place to place and playing. So I thought, no, I'm going to do one, maybe two, and then get a proper chance to catch up with everybody. But that's how I ended up in Dundee. And yeah, so anyway, this story here. Played the first gig, then went back to the Ambassador, which is where kind of everybody was. It all kind of met up at night. I was there like a couple of nights, both nights fights. Both nights fights, right? But like this first night, it's kicking off, right? And I'm just standing at the bar, just seeing this all kick off, and this old woman comes up to me, right? And she goes, "Just you stay there, son. You don't look like you know how to handle yourself." You got bonny teeth. We don't want you. We don't want you to go home to your missus with a messed up face. And I'm like, thank you very much. That's good of you. Yeah.
Little did she know.
Everyone's getting go platinum.
And then the night after, it was just like some guy that just, there's like, people who just can't take no for an answer. Yeah. But he was like coming on to this woman in the bar, and he just like, and you're like, mate, you're like borderline, like, sexual assault here. Like you're definitely going down the wrong path here. Like of like, just take no and move on. But no, that ended up in a fight as well. But both times I was just like, nothing to do with me. Carry on. But Dundee's been good fun, and the people are kind of are a good laugh and everything else. So it's become something that I kind of have to do now. I think at least once a year, So that's extended my horizon down to Dundee.
But that's good though, because I get you get connections through there as well.
Yeah.
And, I think, am I right in thinking that Chris Grant was down that way for a little bit as well? Did he not have a gig down there? I'm pretty sure I might have seen something like that.
He might have done, yeah. I'm sure he's been in like Stirling and stuff like that too. Yeah.
Chris is everywhere, man, isn't he? He's just constantly putting stuff out and gigging, like yourself, obviously.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something there that in terms of like bands and that. So last time we never got to cover this, but since we last had you on, we spoke to Tom, who I know that you're friends with, and he's part of a function band. And then I found out so are you.
Yeah.
Diamond Skies.
Got some stories. Stories.
So Diamond Skies won best function band in the entirety of Scotland 2022. Yeah. And I think has it been drawn this year? I think Mark Tab were up for it this year. As well.
And neither of us got it this year, but we were both up for it, which was good to just see. Like, both of us from this area too, because it's usually the Glasgow, and Edinburgh, and kind of central based bands that tend to get up for this. But I think what's nice about it is that it's people that put you up for it. It's not like you apply. Well, I don't know if you apply. Maybe some cases you do. I don't know. I have nothing to do with any of the award things. That's all other members, other like Simbo, like and Callum. They deal with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that like people have like nominated you and have put your kind of name forward, and that's kind of how it comes about.
It's like the best review, really, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Like, what's it like playing weddings? And is it just weddings? Is there other events as well?
Functions and stuff too. Mostly weddings at the moment.
Is that like similar to like gigging in like hospitality and that, or
it's different. It's different. It's 100%. It's different. Yeah, if you were gigging in hospitality, there's like much more of a freedom to mess around a bit more and just try things and just do things. Whereas in weddings and things like that, you don't want to do that too much because you kind of, I think, been booked on the idea that you're a tight kind of pristine band, so you don't want to kind of just busk something you've never really done or kind of half know as much as you maybe want to. As in Oran last night, just started playing the opening to Welcome to the Black Parade on the piano. Like, you're not doing that at a wedding or anything like that.
It's either went really bad if that's being played at a wedding for sure.
Like 2 weeks ago we played at this it's like a castle like near kind of Allness, and there's a guy at the end of us, tall dude, and he was like 6'3", 6'4". He starts at the opposite side of the room and he's like asking Dan the guitarist something. Okay, Dan doesn't really say anything to him. He goes away. He comes back. Now he goes to the bassist and he asks him something. Bassist says, I don't know. He goes away. Then he goes to the singer. And we're like singing songs at the moment. Like we're in the middle of playing a set right now. This dude's coming up going, so she's like, I've got my ears and I don't know what you're saying. Go speak to him. So he comes up to me and he's like getting in about stuff. And he's like, can you do Wicked Game, Chris Isaacs?
Brilliant song.
Great song. Yeah, just not at like half 11, 20 to 12 on a wedding night, you know, when everybody's up dancing.
No,
he's like,
depressing.
Oh, yeah. He's like, everybody's waiting for it. And I'm like, no, mate, they're not. Like, and he was adamant he's going to go and ask the drummer, like, for the same thing. And you're like, mate, bugger off. Like,
He's doing an absolutely awesome version of Black Velvet.
That's a good
one of my
fun
favorite
one.
songs. Like, I think it was a golf club at one of the weddings.
Yes,
we were at.
yep, I remember that one.
That was enjoyable. Is there any songs that when people request them, you're just like, oh fuck, not this again? Because I asked Tom the same question. I can't remember what his,
like, you know, the most common ones are probably stuff like Mr. Brightside
and
stuff
Country
like
Roads
that.
and things like that. He was,
See, I don't dislike those songs. I'm a big. I quite like those ones. It's I know for Dan, our guitarist, it's Summer '69. Can't stand that.
Bryan Adams.
But it gets everyone going. Doesn't matter. I don't care.
Do I know the best story about Paul, one of the guys that does the podcast with us? We were in the pub one night and someone didn't know who Bruce Springsteen was.
Really?
So everyone kind of lost their shit, right? And
no wonder.
like the heat got totally took it off of them, right? Because Paul must have been outside having a cigarette or whatever, and he came back in and he tried to like join in the whole kind of ripping that was going on. This guy just went, Bruce Springsteen, Summer of '69, and everything. all the hate from the guy that didn't know went. Oh, quality.
Oh, geez. That's good. That's good. Is there I know you do requests and things for like wedding songs and things like that. Do you do a lot of like Ceilidh music and that as well, or is it a bit harder to do? Because I know a lot of Ceilidh music's a lot of specialist instruments, fiddles and things like that.
It's something that we offer, and we've been really lucky that we've had a couple of fiddle players that have come and played with us that have been phenomenal. We had Polly Cheer, she doesn't live here anymore, but she was the first one we got, and now we've got a guy, Ewan Brindle, I think actually teaches music at Keith. I could be totally wrong, sorry. But yeah, he comes and he plays with us if they want to have Ceilidh music.
Yeah.
But it's only, for us, it's not like a thing that we do as part of the band. It's like an add-on because like, we don't advertise ourselves as a Ceilidh band. And yeah, so he comes in, he plays we play like a handful of songs and that, and the fiddle's a nice touch as well, like for that too. But then, you know, once it's kind of done, he heads off and then we just kind of carry on with our thing too. Ceilidh can be a thing that, like, I think it's almost works better as a novelty. Like, although there's some types of, you know, audiences, like, you know, if you got maybe like more kind of rural audiences, they'll love that. Yeah. If you played Ceilidh the whole night, there's been nights where we've been like, you know, doing things like Summer '69 or whatever, and you're like, they don't seem like they're all that bothered about Brian Adams. But if you're like, anyone up for a gig or anything, it's like everybody appears out of nowhere to do that. So it just depends, but it's always a great laugh when you have an English crowd.
I bet, they don't know how to handle it.
Oh, yeah, no idea. Like
what is the Swahili that's being played?
And see, the hardest thing is the Strip the Willow, right? I don't know how hard it is to emphasize, right? You go to, if you go, you know, to the opposite side and back to the center, and you only go up one way.
Yes,
that gets lost in translation, and there's just people going like left to right and like in and out and in between people, and it just becomes chaos. But it's fun, you know. And I think like even if it doesn't work out great, it's still a laugh for everybody who's kind of involved.
Is it more relaxed doing stuff like that, even though it's more set in what you are doing? Because I suppose you get like a set list in advance of what they want played and stuff, or is it still the kind of requests and all that?
Do you have like a songbook?
Yeah, kind of. We kind of just chop and change it as we kind of. I write up most of our set lists up before the night, and then I can get there and see like the crowd and be like, yeah, well, this isn't going to work, is it? You know, you could see like, for example, maybe you've put like a lot of punk rock or something like that, you know, into the set, and you say, oh, it's maybe a bit of an older crowd, so maybe like, you know, 70s, 80s kind of songs are going to go better than Blink-182 and you know, and Jimmy Eat World. So we chop and change it on the night, but we have a rough idea of where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's some of your I mean, you probably don't want to say because you obviously get bookings for a lot of places, but where are some of your favorite places locally where like you see a booking, you're like, yes, like I love playing in front of the locals or whoever it may be that you're gigging in front of?
They're all different, eh? Like you say, it's difficult to put because it just depends on the particular night that can make your night or whatever. Like for example, I played in Badenoch a few times over the last couple of months, but one of those times was like a Sunday afternoon. Wasn't loads of people in; they were kind of just down the front. But that was great in itself because it was more intimate, and it was so easy to talk to everybody and just have a bit of just have a bit of crack and have a bit of chat. And we kind of like I started doing this thing where like give me a letter in the alphabet, and I just go to my set and find the letter in the alphabet, and I'll give them a choice of two, and they pick one, and then we just play that song kind of thing. So it gives them a bit more interaction. Whereas then I played a few weeks after, and it was I think it was the first night of the school holidays, and like all the teachers from like Greenwoods or whatever were out at like a table, and they were just having a great night. So it was good fun to play for them too. But that was a much more like upbeat kind of crowd as opposed to that one on the Sunday. So it just depends. They both have their
pros and cons.
The pros and cons. The worst is when you have a crowd that gives you no feedback after the song.
Yeah.
So you play something upbeat, you get nothing. You play something downbeat, you get nothing. You're like, where do we go from here? Yeah. What do we do? I don't know what you like. And this is where you end up playing like, I don't know, like just like like Nirvana or something like that. Just throwing something off the wall just to see like if we're going to enjoy it. But no, I've been in the local area. I've been in Oran. That's been quite a good kind of regular slot for me too. And it's a good one too. But it's definitely more the kind of gig where I think folk are sitting and listening to you, and there's a bit kind of more added pressure to that as well because you
sense it, the eyes on you more,
and also because they're sitting there having meals and things like that. When people are sitting down and eating food and stuff like that, it kind of changes things a bit.
They're
too.
also paying an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
Meals.
So you need to. So I played last night with my piano. I haven't played a gig with my piano in like 3+ years, 3+ years, and when I got there was just like a handful of tables and whatever. I'm like, okay, this is fine, right? I will be good because like if I have any stupid mistakes or just any jitters, that it'll be okay. It's not too many. And then people just start piling in, and it's like ram-fulled for when I start. And I'm like, oh, well, we're doing this. We're here. Let's go. And it still worked out pretty well, but it took me a little bit of like a good half hour to kind of get into like the groove of just sitting behind the piano, doing stuff as opposed to playing guitar.
I take it you're not playing very much upbeat stuff in there. It's more just chill music.
Again, it just depends. Like for the first half, probably I would say it was kind of more chilled, but then towards the end,
is it? Well, you kind of mentioned it there. It's not strange playing to some people eating because they're not exactly like on their feet. Some of them are mid conversation.
It changes things certainly, but then I think what I do is I gravitate towards something that I think from a musician's standpoint has a bit more complexity. So I'm like, right, hopefully they'll appreciate what I'm playing here versus like, wanting to get up and have a boogie. So they'll be listening to be like, oh, that's really cool, this version of something that he's done. Or like, so I'll play like, I don't know, I've done like a picking version of As It Was by Harry Styles. I actually quite like that song. I'm not a big fan of a lot of other songs, but I managed to kind of amalgamate like a Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac style picking into that song. So I play that and I'm like, I think hopefully that will go down well because it'll be something modern, but it doesn't sound like they're used to hearing it kind of thing. So I try to kind of opt for more kind of songs like that where there's a bit more kind of complexity in sort of what I'm playing rather than just trying to make something repetitive. Yeah, for sure. And that's often a good way to introduce yourself to these kind of folk. If you can, certainly if you do it well and you play it well, you get off to a good strong start. That's good. But if you fuck it up, then you're in for a long night. Then that's how it goes.
If you came across any more legit as fuck guys since the last time we spoke,
oh Jesus,
pressure point ninjas as we shall call them.
I'm trying to think if I have. Nothing's overly memorable, but when I was in Dundee, the chest puffing is unbelievable with some of the people there. I don't know how they get the energy to Just be that confrontational. Like, I don't care. Like, what are you looking at me like that? And this guy's like walking in the middle of a road, like, giving it beans like that. And just like,
It doesn't need a swimming lesson in his life because he just float without chest.
Totally. No, he was a rare kind. That one, the pressure point knockout dude. I
do have a bit later because we've got a really good UFC card this weekend, and I thought we could give some picks.
This would be good. That'd be fun.
But I wanted to kind of drift off from music of that for a second because I learned something about you that we share something in common, and that is that you're a Resident Evil buff. I've seen the posts, and I know that the greatest video game of all time, Resident Evil 4, got a remake recently.
It sure did.
And I picked it up a couple of weeks ago for my birthday, and I'm sure that you've played through it as well. Did you play like the early games from like PlayStation 1 generation and stuff like that, or
I kind of sound terrible. Like I got Resident Evil 1 and I was too batshit scared to play it. Yeah. Like so I actually never did 1, 2, and 3. But my cousins had 2 and 3 on their PlayStation, and I watched them play that, and I always like enjoyed the game as such. But so when 4 came along, I was like, right, I'm gonna just do this, and I've hooked to like that. The franchise kind of ever since. Yeah,
and because I that's like the first one I got to play because like 2005 it was released.
Yeah.
So like the others were released in the 90s and stuff like that, but they've remade those ones as well. So I've kind of been going through them and getting to experience them as well. But I just remember like the village fighting them off, and then like the bells and the greatest line of all time of "Where's everyone going?
Where's everyone? Bingo. Yeah. At least like.
Yeah,
no idea. Don't know what's going on here.
Not a clue. Like honestly, I couldn't tell you last time I played a PlayStation or something like that.
No.
I do PC gaming.
Oh well, see this. He's a hardcore gamer.
Yeah, he's a PC master race.
Like that's it. Like
not talking to our
we're the peasants.
Yeah,
we're the peasants. So he's like, yeah, just go have fun with your toys. Meanwhile, I will do God's work.
But like I don't use I've got this fantastic PC, and I play the most simple of games on it. It's like,
but that seems to be what happens with people who are PC gamers. It's all become like say those types of games, like the MMORPGs and stuff like that.
Just really simple shit. Like I could play Red Dead Redemption on my PC if I wanted with a controller, but I've just got no interest in it. I'd rather go and piss about on Age of Empires 2,
Admittedly, that's a pretty good game as well. To be fair,
we'll give you that. But like, I know as I've got older, I'm not as passionate about video games in general as I was probably when I was younger. But there is Resident Evil being one of the series where I do have to pay attention. Apart from Resident Evil, I think
Capcom like they just seem to go through stages of reinvention, don't they? They hit this wall. And then they seem to be able to just pull it off without a hitch. So Resident Evil 4 came out, but that was like people were starting to get fed up of the games being the CCTV camera point.
I remember that,
Yeah, people were starting to get quite fed up of that. And then it's Shinji Mikami that did 4, and it was third person.
Over the shoulder.
The shoulder. Like, I mean, in retrospect, the movement was terrible.
Yeah.
But that added to the horror because you couldn't move while you aimed.
Yeah.
So, like, I've never played the games, but are the films anything like the games? Because I've seen the films.
The films are rough.
I've seen the films.
That's a sensitive
topic. The films
topic.
insult the game, sir, is all I'll say. But
even the newest one, The Welcome to Raccoon City, like, did you see that?
Yeah.
I
got 10 minutes in and I was like, okay, so nothing's changed here.
The films actually had, I think, a unique opportunity to be different to the games, and I thought that's what, from kind of 3 onwards, they were going to do.
Okay.
Because in the games, it's not that it all ends with Raccoon City, but like it doesn't spread any further. There's still like bioterrorism, but it's not like the world has been overtaken by the T-virus like it is in the films. So I thought, okay, that's a cool concept for them to run with. But then they opted to like start cherry picking dialogue and bits from the games, which just didn't have any contextual sense to what was happening in the movie. And I think it was just there to think that, we'll take that, and the gamers will be like, wow, well, that's from the game that we play, It
just sounds exactly like what The Witcher have done.
Yeah, kind of.
It's hard for me because I've never played the Witcher games.
Get on that.
I've heard they're phenomenal.
But once you get in, you won't like that'll be the only game you play for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just so in depth, isn't it? Like you can get distracted so easily. You've got Garrett going, "What's going on over here?"
I played it for about a month and a half, and I got lost. I was just like, "This is just too much for my head. I cannot take it." Like, there's next, like you start out the game and it's pretty simple, but like simple things like you've got to keep your character alive by eating and picking food and things like that, and just like you end up on 50 side quests before you've even realised what you've done, and. Yeah, I was just like, nah.
I'm so glad I got Red Dead 2 out of the way in lockdown.
Yeah.
That was the time to do it. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last game that I fucking played through.
But I mean, like the whole that you mentioned there, the whole camera change, like it hasn't just been like that game series. Like every game series has adopted that. Any major AAA title, apart from Age of Empires,
of course.
Assassin's Creed was the last game I played through. It was the ancient Egypt one,
right?
Origins, I think it was. I think that's the last game I played through, and then after that, I just kind of got a 3-year-old, so I don't get much time on a PlayStation. But PC's definitely the way forward.
Oh yeah, I think if you're serious about gaming, 100%, the PCs are the way to do it. It's the very idea. You can just you need to upgrade your hardware in your PC. You don't need to replace your whole PC. You can just upgrade the hardware.
I've got a laptop, and I can run Steam through it, which is pretty much got everything on the PlayStation Store.
I did not realize Steam was Valve.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I don't know where I've been living, but I never realized that was who it was.
And I've got Xbox Marketplace on there, so I can play anything on Xbox.
Yeah, like the Game Pass stuff for the PC and that, yeah.
So it's just like they're unlimited, but... I'm
a fan of the exclusives, though. I mean, it might sound childish, but Spider-Man, like, I'm sorry, but... The only person that would enjoy that game more is 7-year-old me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I think the next game I will buy, and it's just because it's a standard, will be the next Grand Theft Auto. But I buy every.
How old are we going to be with that?
I know, like 50 when it comes out.
We'll be how many podcasts will you be? Like, you might be through like a good couple of thousand. By the time about like
you're going to be able to do it through VR.
Oh God!
So what you're going to buy, murking everyone through VR? Like, that's going to be
that would be like the usual
insane.
BBC news segment when it comes out. It was like, "Is this dangerous for kids?"
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like, especially obviously when we were younger, like Grand Theft Auto, like Vice City 3, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and I was like to my grandparents, "This is the one I would like, please."
Yeah.
Okay, it's got an 18. Are you sure it's okay? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, they just over exaggerate a lot of the time.
It's like they were putting things like that in the news, and it was like kids were like, "I want that thing more now."
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's usually whatever they try to deter people from doing just kind of makes it more intriguing.
Yeah, it's like, well, we spoke about this in the last episode, smoking. Like they put these anti-smoking warnings on it. It's like, well, I want to do it now.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah, it's the gaming's been. I haven't done too much of it recently, but Resident Evil 4, I sat down and really took time to kind of go through that, and I appreciated what they did. They kept it very true, I think, to the original.
Yeah,
they changed things to just give gamers who'd played the original
something different
to keep them on their toes, I think.
Okay.
Because the third one they cut out like a third of the game or something.
Yeah,
like that,
they did. Yeah, but they were supposed to be an amalgamation of 2 and 3 together, and then because I think they just thought 2 is going to be a great success, we'll split them apart. But 3 was a bit of an afterthought. It certainly felt like. But did you play Village as well?
No, I've got to get around to that. So like
Village.
4, 5, and 6 were like my era, and then I went and I've played through the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and I'm going to get to Biohazard or 7 as it's called in Village.
7 and Village.
But I heard Village is like not similar to 4, but it kind of has the same kind of plot of Village. Everyone's lost their mind, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
you see it a lot in how I think Rockstar are a great example of how they use games as like ways to kind of test out other games. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they use like LA Noire and like Red Dead Redemption as a means to get the programming and everything right for Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
So you see as they kind of go forward, like what they're going to do with Red Dead 2 and any other games that come out, that's going to obviously contribute towards the production of GTA 6. I think they're all they're all good at doing that.
If it's set in London, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that they think it might be set in London.
Because I remember playing The Getaway as a kid. If anyone remembers that game,
game,
was the greatest
that's a
of all time.
throwback.
Having said that, though, right, you do also have to acknowledge Rockstar's complete blunder that was the trilogy. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
the remaster.
Yeah.
The remaster trilogy.
Yep. Ridiculous.
That was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Because, you know, one of the guys, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, that we can get him on here one day, Leslie Benzies,
Yeah.
is now no longer part of Rockstar, and he was like a massive kind of input into the original Grand Theft Auto, but there was a big kind of dispute where, you know, people got paid. Well, he got paid in the end, so...
Oh, he got paid all right.
Yeah. But I think it's quite cool, because Scotland's quite... capital of like video, like Dundee, right? Is apparently becoming like the capital of the creating of this, and I think, I mean, I might be a bit of a sucker for saying this, but I like when they remaster classics and just show you what modern day technology can do with them. That is like fascinating to me, you know. And it's getting crazy how good like these things are looking.
Oh,
like,
yeah, fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, but I know you've got to be away at 12, so we'll make progress into our... We'll ask about you competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments. As you said earlier, someone assuming that you could not be able to defend yourself, and you've mastered defending yourself in a way with training at SBG. And why the tournaments? Because that is different from kind of doing it leisurely or as a hobby or whatever. You know, I wouldn't say that they asked you to do it, but were you ever encouraged to do it, or is it something you just decided to do yourself?
You're absolutely, I think, encouraged to do it. You know, Martin's always there, you know, saying, "Oh, that competition's come out. You do that. You're going to do that one. Going to do that one," kind of thing. And I think it does help. It puts you in like because if you've done competition rolling too, it's totally different to rolling in the gym, isn't it?
I've only competed once. I've competed twice, but the same gi and no gi.
Yeah.
And yeah. That 6 to 8 weeks getting ready for that was fucking the hardest
stuff. Yeah,
hardest training I've ever done in my life.
Oh yeah, totally. And you don't know how that's going to translate to like when you get on the mats and who you're actually going to be up against and things. Some guys I know that was at the comp I was in January looked up all the people that they were going to be up against and looked at the records and looked at everything like that. I did none of that. Didn't want to know, because I think you could end up giving yourself maybe give them a bit too much respect. If you see that they maybe done a lot of competitions.
I had the same guy in my gi and no gi.
Right.
And he caught me in the same choke.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'd actually done all right for the first few minutes of my match in gi. I'd held my grips well and things like that, but he just caught me in a choke. And I'm going to ask you about this just shortly. People are way stronger when you're competing.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I was like, I haven't been against guys this strong in the gym.
I know, it's unreal. Yeah. The first match I had, I was like, there was other people from the team competing, and they went on before I did. So Fran had like 2-3 matches. She'd finished her gi category, and the other Scott as well, which didn't get confusing. He'd had like 2 or 3 matches in his category too. So then I was like the next one to go, and that it was the 3 of us that were at this comp. So I'm like, buzzing to get going, gotta get rare and starting the gi, and it was just movement and frantic and whatever. And I got like grips on the guy, and he kicks my leg out from me. But I'd sort of done like quite a bit of wrestling beforehand, and I was like, right, I'm gonna just adopt the attitude of like, you have to put me on the ground, right? I'm not gonna accept being bottom position. I'm gonna, if you put me there, fine, but other than that, I'm gonna get up. And yeah, so he kicks the leg out, and then I need to do something, so I like did a sit out and pulled him over my leg, and then just started wrestling, got him down. But they all feel so strong, like when you're there too.
That was the biggest thing I noticed. I was like, this guy was smaller than me. Like I'm not the biggest of guys. I'm 5'8" odd.
Yeah.
This guy, I'm going to say, was 5'5", 5'6". He was slightly bigger built than me. Like I'm not big built. And then this guy just took grips on me, and I was like, I
can't get them off.
Cannot get these grips out just now.
No.
And I've got Martin and Kev in my ear.
Yep.
And I cannot hear a thing they're saying, because I'm like, there's so much going through your head at one time. I think the reason I didn't compete well is because I panicked.
Yeah.
I panicked. I had so much going on. I was just like, I panicked. And then that choke, I wouldn't have tapped that choke in the gym.
Not in the gym, no.
And that's why I was kind of disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed it when you were competing. Like, I went into my own little bubble almost, and it was like somebody could have told me the simplest of things, but I probably wasn't going to listen. But that's just maybe me competing myself. But like, I could have been in the best position in the world. Somebody could have said, put an arm through here, but because I'm so focused on what's happening, I'm not thinking. I'm just going to do what's naturally coming to my body.
Just holding people down, just doing that. I managed, I kind of sort of counter to that. I managed to tune into Kev quite well, I think, and that's what it like is. You can see me in one match that the guy who beat me, I beat the guy that beat him, which shows you why you should never look up your opponents, because like it was just a little round robin of who won, right? I was, this guy was quite crafty with like his guard work, and I couldn't get past his half guard, and we were going to do like I'd never done a long step pass. Kev was talking me through how to do a long step pass, and I'm listening. I'm not quite getting it right, but I'm doing my best to kind of get there. And just listening to his instruction, like that first match, the guy managed to bridge me over and tried to go for an arm bar, and I managed to get on top and get my arm out and settle him back down again and kind of work my way out of things. But yeah, I can completely understand what you're thinking though. If you just get in your bubble of like, my God, I've got them down. I'm going to keep them down. Don't do it, like, because you almost feel like moving gives them an opportunity to start doing things. So if you're if I've got them in this pin here, I'm just going to keep them here. What did you find better? Was like gi or no gi?
I had more success in the gi because I feel I've got quite a good grip strength anyway, and you'll know yourself that first matches are all about grip fighting.
Totally.
So it was literally us two stood. He had a hold on mine, and we were just switching grips for the first minute or so.
Yeah.
I managed to get good grips, but then I got swept.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah.
Gi, I trained a lot less. No gi, I trained a lot less no gi than I did. I used to make the 3 sessions a week. So my 3 sessions a week was gi Monday, no gi Wednesday, gi Friday.
Yeah.
So I was training twice a week in the gi and once a week no gi.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm going to go back to it in a few years' time when the kids are grown up a bit more and things like that. And I don't think I'll go back to no gi.
No.
I enjoy gi. I really enjoy it. I enjoy loop chokes. I think I love all that kind
all
of
the jacket stuff.
Yeah, but I trained with Shay. Obviously, you've trained with Shay many times, and like I'm a bit like Shay in one way only, that I'm always going to be the lighter guy. So the grips and things to me are always massively. I don't like to wrestle too much because I'm not a strong guy. So grips are hugely advantage to me, and obviously you only get a body grip with no gi. You can't take a hold of the clothes or nothing like that.
That's it.
80% of the time I'm getting someone down to the floor, it's a scissor sweep with a gi or something like that. It's not.
Yeah, but simple and effective. Yeah, I sort of agree. I prefer no gi, but I think that's just down to the fact that that's all I really trained, because I couldn't make Monday sessions, and so Monday band practice and Friday I'd be working, so I'd never get a lot of chance to practice in the gi. So I'm wrestling on Tuesday, no gi on Wednesday. Maybe like no gi again on Thursday if I get the chance to.
But I feel like there's so many more options with a gi. Like
I preferred competing in the gi,
like being
100%.
I always think of being on someone's back, right, in a gi. When we've not got a gi, you're doing this, you're body locking, you're things like that. A gi, you need one good gi grip
on the collar.
You will stay on that back, and you'll be able to ride. It doesn't matter what kind of movement they're doing. If you've got one good gi grip, you're pretty much not sorted, but you can switch them grips up. It's a lot easier to do that than switch from a body lock to a neck lock to under the arm, and
I find gi in just terms of competing helped with kind of slowing things down a little bit more. That was one thing. I wouldn't say I overly used the grips all that much, because my game wasn't really to try and pull guard on people. It was to be in the top position. So when I sort of failed to have success with the grip battle, I actually kind of almost just started wrestling in the gi. That's just what happened, and I still managed to kind of get the desired effect. From there. Well, one guy pulled guard on me.
What's your comfortable position in jits? Where do you like to be? Like mine was always, I like to be half guard bottom. That's probably where I feel I've got most options, just personally through my training and my experience.
I think specifically I like to be on their back, like with one around the chin there. Just start from there. That's a good starting point. No.
Like, are you a top guy? Are you a bottom guy?
Probably top, yeah. But I think like now I find that I'm trying to work doing kind of more kind of bottom stuff with like, certainly with like newer folk come to the gym too. I don't particularly like
dominating,
standing in. I don't particularly like standing and wrestling with guys that are totally new, because they can just be a bit clunky, and you just find that some of those guys are still they're just using strength at that, and you can just end up like getting stupid injuries and stuff like that. So I find with newer guys, I like to kind of just sit down and we'll just go from there and see what happens.
Always like rolling with lighter guys like Shea, Mike McLeod, things. I like rolling with smaller, lighter guys my size. I always found, even with someone like, you're not that much bigger than me, Scott, maybe a couple of stone, a couple of inches in height, but like that is a huge amount of difference.
It's a big advantage,
on the mat, you know.
100%.
Like there's weight classes in jiu-jitsu and UFC for a reason, like, but I don't know, I just always find a lighter guy, I can do more in my game just because I'm not having to use half the amount of strength. Whereas if I've got someone like, I'm not going to say Kev because I ain't moving with Kev on top man. If I've got someone like Big Lewis Scott that used to come to the gym, I've got someone like him on me, I'm having to use probably 50% strength, 50% technique. Whereas if I've got somebody my size, I'm using a little bit of strength, but I'm getting a chance to use my full technique, you know. I don't know, do you like rolling guys your same size, smaller guys, bigger guys?
It just depends. It all kind of changes depending who you're rolling with. I mean, if you're rolling with like a lighter guy, say as like a Mike McLeod, for example, like there's just different things you have to worry about with him compared to like a bigger guy. You know, he's much, being a bit of a smaller guy, he's easier to kind of get into these kind of entanglements and leg entanglements and ankle entanglements.
You don't mind being under his pressure compared to like Kev's chest pressure, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean it's different, yeah. But like just the threats are different. I think depending on, that's the thing with jiu-jitsu. Everybody's got a different style. Yeah. So it changed. Like when we talk about pressure, like if you had Martin on top of you, that's just like
It's stupid.
You're just like, what do I even go from here?
I came out of there with a sore back. I'm like, just for him, having him on me for like, and he won't even do anything. He'll just keep you there.
Just pressure.
He'll just keep you there. He's like, I could submit you in 30 seconds, but I'm just going to keep you here and put my full body weight on you. Yeah. Just like, I know this is uncomfortable for you. So I've tapped to body pressure from him before. Pretty sure. Yeah. Tapped to body pressure, just him, he's not even got a choke or nothing on. He's just got, I think he had what's the grip where he's got his fist into your back and he's pushing you to the ground?
Oh, yeah, like from the body lock type thing, yeah.
Just insane pressure. Yeah. Just, you feel sick.
Oh, yeah, it's some...
But you used to be part of the Sunday sessions. Like, you remember when Jack and Aidan used to run circuits and things like that? And they used to get brutal. You had guys thrown up on the mat and stuff like that. And that was just to get people ready for competitions and fights and smart competitions. Like, have you ever thought about doing anything like smart?
I kind of was tempted to do it recently. I say recently, a few years back when I was doing MMA a bit more. And I think I've just kind of found a bit more of a groove with just the grappling sports. I enjoy striking, and I will keep striking and doing MMA when I can. But I think for me, that's just more of an enjoyment and just learning and just I'd like to get better at them, but I'm not particularly interested in competing with the striking involved as much as I think I was.
That's more of a dangerous element to it as well, right? Because at least in grappling, like, if you get caught on something, you tap, and most of the time
you should be able to.
You
keep
should
going.
be fine, and no injuries. Where when you start taking blows to the head and stuff like that.
I don't know. I've only ever been in one situation where I didn't even have enough time to tap once with Shay. I went out for just about 2 seconds. I didn't even have enough time to get my hand in position, and
there was no harm done, right?
As you say, I just straight back around.
You're fine.
Take one punch in the head, it can just go. That could be the end of your life if you don't take that.
If you land the wrong way, that's it. Definitely.
Like I know you're going to move on to UFC.
So I
thought that was kind of a good foray into.
Definitely. Like, it's something I think I will keep doing kind of when the sort of time gets there. It's an experience. It sucks. I'm 2 for 2 on injuries with competitions just now. I got injured. The first one I did was an in-house one where I got my knee popped.
I've done it myself, so I don't.
And then the second one. So, my God,
were you on crutches?
No, I was. It was like the way to describe it was like the guy had a hook on my. It was closed guard. And he was trying to sweep me, so he had a hook on my knee, the top of my knee, and he had a hook almost under my foot, and he was like sort of almost like a pendulum. But I had base, so he's like, "You're not going to sweep me here." But obviously, he just kept moving my knee, and it just moved till it made a big pop. But that was right before COVID too, so that injury sorted itself out over the 2 years, and then in January past. Jesus Christ, man! Like 8 matches, 7 wins, 1 loss, no medals.
It's crazy.
No medals.
It's crazy.
Nothing at all. Everybody's like, "You're so unlucky," and they get a medal and that. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. It's fine."
On the next one, man.
Oh yeah. And again, like say strength. I was trying to isolate this dude's arm and side control in the last match in no gi, and he had his elbow, and he just moved one of my ribs.
Oh.
Like we're like a couple of minutes into the match. I was like, you can hear me in the video. I'm like kind of because it was painful, man. But like I was like, I'm gonna just stay on top. I'm on top. I'll stay on top. Fine. If that guy really like scrambled hard, he would have got out, no problem. And he did manage to kind of scramble a bit into a guillotine. That's where it is. That's how the match ends. I've got points on him. He's got a guillotine grip on my neck, and I'm just there looking up at the ref like, we're good. Just let and then clock runs out, and I'm just like.
Doctor stoppage.
Doctor stoppage. I would have had 2 more matches after that, so that would have been 10 matches in the day, and I was like ruined after the first one. Like you get that adrenaline dump after the first 1 or 2 matches.
Well, I struggled with my weight.
Oh, you did?
I competed at 64 key.
Right.
No. It was either 64 57, I can't remember.
So it's a bit of a difference.
Yeah. I'm going to say 64.
Right, okay.
And I really struggled with my weight the week leading up to it. What I was struggling with was the training and eating and also keeping the weight down at the same time.
That's a hard combination. Yeah,
so it was like, right, do I sacrifice the training to keep up with the eating? And I could keep the eating fine if I just didn't go to training, but I needed to go to training.
Yeah, you need to, yeah.
And then I had this absolute calorie deficit after training that I just needed to fill my body with.
You can't,
yeah. So I was on noodles for 2 days before.
Yeah.
Just low carb noodles, and I went into that thing. And you can ask. Remember Finn Wright?
Yeah.
I took the car in the hotel room the night before with Finn Wright and Jack Wright.
Yep.
And I was in a salt bath.
Oh, right, to cut a bit of weight as well.
Yeah, I was in a salt bath, hot as hell salt bath.
Oh, man.
Went in miserable. I felt like crap. I actually felt really depressed that day. I'm
not surprised.
I felt excellent leading up to it. I was really excited and things like that.
Yeah.
That day, I don't know what came over me, but I'm not going to blame that. That was my own performance. No. But like, everyone has different competition experiences, don't they?
I don't know. Like, certainly for me, like winning matches didn't feel like wins. I was just grateful that they weren't losses.
Yeah.
Like, which is a strange way to think, eh? Like, but I was just like, because I got, in that 8 matches I had like 37 minutes of mat time. I didn't like to make things easy for myself. Jesus. So I like.
It's like a full on rolling session after training.
Yeah. I subbed one guy and the rest of them were like, one was a loss and obviously the rest were like all like points wins. Yeah.
That's good, man, though.
Yeah.
You going for more though?
I will do. Yeah, no, I absolutely will do. Yeah, because I think it'll. You do find you get better from doing it. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, on to the next one.
If you don't win, you learn. That's
it. Yeah, totally.
We don't want to be getting copyrighted by John Cabana's book title here.
Hey,
come on, son.
Get the button back on again.
Shall we go on to the picks then?
Yeah,
we'll keep it
big card, man.
We'll
Huge
keep
card.
it to the main card because we've got about 5-6 fights, have we?
Yeah.
Can
we just quickly speak about Paul Craig?
Holy shit.
Chris Duncan last
Chris Duncan, yeah.
Like, I think Paul Craig's going to do some damage in that division.
I didn't when I saw that he was going to move to middleweight, I was like, I don't think that's the move, because you're like, doesn't really work out well for fighters dropping a weight
water
class.
Out your body and stuff like that.
You know, but he seemed to take shots okay. You know, he didn't seem to get wobbled. You always felt like with Paul Craig in his fights that if he gets hit with something hard, he struggles to recover. That's all, like Walker hitting him with that weird back fist. You know, like he just never gets the chance. He just doesn't recover. And I think probably at light heavyweight, there's just no forgiveness with getting caught with these kind of shots. So
yeah, they're big shots in light heavyweight.
Oh yeah,
you can take a few more of them at middleweight.
Yeah.
We were speaking about like he's the kind of guy though that would get a fight with Alex Pereira, get head kicked, and then triangle him.
I mean,
he's one of them guys.
Krylov had him in all sorts of trouble at the.
Unbelievable.
And he was like hammer fist, and you could see he was literally about to go on the next thing.
He's out.
I mean, I was happy. I won 30 quid. Triangle on Paul Craig,
and Chris Duncan's going to be an absolute problem in that.
Especially training with the guys he's training with, like Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, he showed a lot more patience in that fight just past. He didn't seem like he wasn't putting himself too much out of position, just trying to land the big knockout punch. He was like kind of being a bit more methodical, which was good to see as well.
It's exciting.
Yeah, see, there's a heat between Paul Craig and Chris Duncan though.
Is there?
They had a bit of beef because they both wore the face paint. Because I guess that's Paul Craig's going to claim that.
I know that,
but he did say, "I don't own the rights to face paint." So.
No, that's true.
It's not only Paul Craig moving to middleweight; he's now training at a higher level.
Yeah, with James.
So that I think that's a big difference in his game as well.
Because he said, I've seen him on the MMA Hour earlier in the week, and he was saying that for the previous camps, like the loss to Johnny Walker and is it Ozdemir he lost to as well before that? He was saying that it was basically, I think it was Chris Bungard's shed, and they would get sparring partners, and like Chris Bungard's got like it's not just like a random shed, he's got like an actual kind of gym set up in there, and they would just run the entire camp out of there, which is mad when you think about it.
Totally.
Fighting at the highest of levels, but and now he's fighting training at higher levels. So so this week we have UFC 219. I'll start off with Derek Lewis versus Marcus Rogerio de Lima.
The Beast.
Yeah. Beast. Kind of been on a bit of a losing streak recently, wasn't he? But this is where his back's against the wall. It always kind of feels like he pulls one of these.
He does seem to do it, doesn't he?
You know, like Curtis Blades are like, oh, he's about to get wrestled to high heaven.
I did not see that uppercut coming.
And yeah, neither did Curtis Blades, it would appear. But,
do you guys agree that he's still the scariest knockout guy in the UFC? Like
him and Alex Pereira is quite terrifying as well, but it's not because of it's just because of how quick that guy is. Really, it doesn't seem like there's much force behind anything. And
no, to me, he's probably the scary, scary. There's only a few people in that UFC that I think, fuck that shit. Even if I had a weapon in my hand, I wouldn't go near this guy.
Yeah.
Him, Yoel Romero is another one. You just wouldn't go near that guy. Francis Ngannou.
I know he's not in the UFC now,
but he's in that bracket of just like, this guy would fucking kill you if you had a gun in your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you remember that first UFC in lockdown when I think it was Rosenstrike he fought, and he literally was like,
Ngannou.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm not playing this kickboxing, and just rushed him. And was like, just
cracked
hit
him.
Me, and then
you see Rosenstrike's count. You actually managed to counter him in that flurry.
Yeah,
and you're like,
just didn't stop him, did it?
Didn't stop him.
I'm going to hit you. And I mean, I'm not. It sounds bad, but he I was like, that guy looks dead right now. Do you know what I mean? Because he was literally like against the cage like that. So, brutal. So we're going to go with Derek Lewis. We think he's an underdog. I like a good underdog bet.
I can't look past him. Like he's got that one hit knockout power. I think when you've got that in your arsenal, you can't look past anyone that's really got that.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of the run of fights he's kind of been on, and he lost to Gan, which guys with good movement who can hit him and be out of the way when he wants to throw his counter. It seems like it's the blueprint to beat him now. You know, and then. So he lost to him, and then he fought Taito Ivasa, which I thought that Derek Lewis was going to win that fight, but I think that was just, I don't know why he opted to change the game plan and just get into a slugfest with him, because he was winning. you know, how in the first round quite comfortably.
Mark Hunt 2.0. Like.
Yeah, totally.
Sergey Pavlovich just ran through him. But, you know...
He ran through a lot of guys.
He ran through a lot of guys.
Him versus Aspinall is going to be a great fight if they make that.
If they make that. And does he have another loss after that? Or is it just those three? I
feel like he might...
he did. He lost to Sergey Spivak.
Yeah, but it was a very early stoppage, was it? Or he was claiming it was
I think that's enough. I think that was it. I didn't...
He's got a few back in the day as well.
I didn't like that. If you're going to be fighting Sergey Spivak, you have to like imagine that the worst case is that you're potentially going to be on your back for like, you know, some rounds before you're going to have a chance to clip him. And it seemed like when he got put down, got to his feet, got put down again, and you know the mat returns just seemed to break him mentally. You know, I think that's one thing that you can get to Derek Lewis is if you can make the fight momentum not go his way. Like he sometimes he struggles to recover from that, and I just don't know if this run of losses, and he is also 39. I think you know. I think this.
He's never had the best of tanks on him either.
No
back injuries as well.
Yeah, back injuries.
Thing to deal with.
I don't like. I want to pick against him because he's got that nuclear power to just stop anyone. You know.
Yeah.
And Rogério de Lima, is it? Yeah, Rogério de Lima. I think he can wrestle, and he has some wins, you know, from submissions and from, you know, ground and pound and top pressure. So if he can implement that game, I think he can beat Lewis. But it just depends if Lewis can crack him. That's it. But I think maybe I'm going to go with De Lima in that one. I think maybe Lewis might just be on the way out.
It's going to be interesting because this will be coming out next Friday, so we'll know the results.
Yeah.
So for the viewers at home, the phone lines are closed. So
you know
what I mean.
Yeah. Don't put
I might be eating my words entirely. Derek Lewis with the first round knockout.
Well, we did picks with Aiden, didn't we, for one of the cards?
And
whatever you do, don't bet any money on any of Aiden's picks ever.
Yep.
Well, what was the three? It was Hamzat Burns, and we all were kind of in agreement, like, oh, Hamzat's going to run through him. Like absolute dogfight.
I personally felt Burns won that fight.
Yeah, like extremely contested fight at least.
Yeah.
And then he said Peter Yan by murder against Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
And then Sterling won. And I was like, oh my god, Korean Zombie's about to beat Volk because he had picked Volk by murder. I was like, this is going to be the craziest. Didn't go that far. But,
No.
Next fight we have got Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. Big mouth.
I knew he's just not interested in this fight. I'm just like, I feel a bit.
I mean, with Kevin Holland, it's almost absurd, like the way that his fights go, just like talking, like the most random stuff. It's not like he's even insulting them. You know what I mean?
No, he's just talking
like,
to them,
literally having a conversation.
He like high fives them for doing something good, doesn't he? Like,
There was that one where who was it? Was it Brunson he was fighting and Habib was watching?
I'd rather see Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Lee
again. Kevin Lee retired.
That press conference was the fucking worst thing ever. Like,
I know his mama got tickets. Don't you ever talk about my fucking mom? Oh dear.
I'd probably go with Chiesa for that fight.
Yeah, he's an underdog. I'll go Holland to be.
I think Holland might be able to hit him and crack him, and that's. Yeah, I think the jiu-jitsu of Holland might nullify the rest, the grappling from Chiesa.
He's a black belt as well, Kevin Holland, isn't he? So, I mean, Chiesa's another one that's kind of had a few big wins, but then you know, I think, but then loses to someone you wouldn't expect him to lose. I think like Ante Pettis caught him in a choke, and Jorge Masvidal submitted him as well, which is
it's back at lightweight.
So. Interesting stuff. Now we're getting into the
meat and
shit. Tony Ferguson, it's unbelievable, kind of the fall off, right? Ever since that Justin Gaethje fight, where he's literally just, I mean,
that meme. That meme killed him. That meme of his face, literally killed him. Like,
but the thing is, he was winning that fight against Michael Chandler, literally. Up until that happened,
yeah.
And my bank account felt it because I had £10 on him winning by a finish, and they could knock Chandler down, and it was about to be a good day, and then next thing you know, his face got punted, and there went my bet. But he's fighting Bobby Green.
I like that. I like the matchup better. Yeah. I like the matchup better. I think like I don't like the thing. I understand why the UFC do it. It's to like build the next name off of who's at the top, but like I think sometimes, especially after that, like the Gaethje loss, like can we just give him like someone in the top like 15 to 10, you know, like maybe because in boxing they do it all the time. They give folk, you know, they give them the tune-up fights and things like that, you know. And he took a lot of damage in that fight. You literally see the point where he gets hit and he kind of shakes his head out, and he's like, he's just done.
Yeah.
Like that's him. He cannot take any more shots. That's his body just telling him that's enough. But who's he fight? He goes on to fight like Oliveira. He goes on to fight
Dariush, was it as well?
He fights Dariush, which
that's a stupid fight for him to take.
But just both those fights.
Yeah.
Oliveira was at a knee. One of them had him in a knee bar, and one of them had him in an arm bar, and he just would not tap.
It was the arm bar with Oliveira, and it was a heel hook that he had him in with Dariush had him in, and and you can see him like in agony.
Yeah.
Like.
And this is when Dariush was on an absolute fucking tear at the time as well.
Absolutely. And then Chandler, who's just Chandler, he's one of the most frustrating guys to be a fan of, because I think he could honestly become UFC champion.
Yeah, he could.
I think he could have done. Like, if he just fights smart.
He just likes fucking punching.
He just loves slugfest, doesn't he?
Like, you would bet the absolute house on if he ends up fighting Conor. That's probably still up in the air at the moment with how McGregor's could have lived his life. But you just kind of see it and you're like, in theory, Michael Chandler, like, you would bet the house on this because he can mix it up. Like, anyone that seems to mix it up well against McGregor has a lot of success. But you just know when like he kind of falls in love with these, and next thing, it makes for entertaining watching.
Oh yeah,
obviously,
I mean, he's got. I think every fight he's had in the UFC, he's won a bonus.
Yeah,
for that, you know, and he got a big paycheck to come to the UFC anyway. So yeah, he's definitely they got their money's worth out of him. But this one, I can see.
I've got a heart and a head in this one.
Yeah, my heart says
too.
Tony, but my head's like it's probably more of the same.
I don't with that one. For this one, I don't think I'd be happy for either guy to win. Mm-hmm. Like I don't particularly have I'd like to see Tony get a win. You know, because he has 3 or 4 or 5 fights.
Would you like to see Tony get a win and just hang up the gloves after that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'd like to see him be done. I know Bobby Green. I think this is his last fight. Is it?
I think there was mention of that.
He's potentially going to be retiring quite soon. And Bobby Green's another great fighter, man. You know, like he's like done. You know, he'd have a great fight with Fiziev. You know, like there's some guys that are unranked fighters who you're like if just a few decisions go their way, they could be like
the top
of the heat.
Yeah.
Bobby Green's one of those guys. You know, like he's knocked out Poirier. Like in the past, he's like had some great wins.
Ali Aquinta as well.
Ali Aquinta, yeah. So I'd have to say with this one, I think Green might get it, but I would like Tony to get it too. But I don't particularly mind who gets it. But I think it might be a decision. I don't think it's going to go to a finish.
I do hope that if it does go bad for Tony and like in a bad kind of way again, I kind of hope someone steps in and makes the decision of retirement for him, because it kind of feels like he's one of the guys, kind of like Chuck Liddell, that was just kind of too tough for their own good and just wanted to keep getting in there. But you could tell it was like, you know, come on, we need to.
He's also 39, is he, as well? 38, 39. He's getting to that stage, like, in a fighter's career. Like, certainly in the lighter weight classes, it doesn't seem like once that 38, 39, that's where they're just not fast enough anymore. And even, like, the fight IQ can't compensate for that. Whereas in the heavier weight classes, you see, like, Andrei Arlovsky
still going strong.
Going. Like, you know, I don't know how he manages to do it, but they can, you know, just the experience can kind of counteract sometimes, you know, being a bit slower than some of these younger fighters.
Stephen Thompson versus Michel Pereira.
I mean, I think it's going to be great fun.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
I kind of just... Thompson's always just kind of bored me a bit as a fighter. He's just too one-dimensional for me.
He's too better at what the other person's trying to do, right? Like, he just seems to be able to kind of stay at range and... Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a finish in this fight because I think Michel Pereira throws the absolute kitchen sink at it. So it's either he'll catch.
Is he the favourite, Pereira?
No, he's an underdog.
Yeah.
Because like this is the guy that's like doing black flips and like but I think it's my kind of prediction as an amateur analyst would be that Michel Pereira tries to take him out in round 1, gets tired, and then Stephen Wonderboy Thompson head kicks him or something.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
I can see that too. Yeah, Wonderboy's he's not an easy guy to put away for sure. I mean, the Pettis loss was like
it was almost like a freak.
It's a bit of a freak incident, really, wasn't it? Yeah, caught with that Superman punch. But bar that, he's only really been beaten by guys that can out grapple him.
Yeah,
you know,
like the Burns and think Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal Muhammad got him too.
Yeah.
And that was essentially how Tyron Woodley. Obviously, Tyron Woodley cracked him though as well. Yeah. What a fight that was.
The next fight should be a 5-rounder.
Yeah, but it's not. Do you know what?
This is one of the best fights I've seen in a
Jamal
long
Hill.
time.
This is Alex Pereira has the craziest luck I've ever seen because Yuri Prochazka had to vacate the belt back in December, and then Jamal Hill, Jan Blachowicz and is it Ankalaev? They fought to a draw, so the belt remained vacant, and then Jamal Hill beat Glover Teixeira
to win the belt,
and now he is injured and had to give up the belt. And I was thinking, I don't think they've confirmed it or anything, and they're not going to do it. I thought they were going to make this the title
fight, yeah.
Because the reason that the BMF title's on it, because they like to have a title fight every pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I was like, what would the chances be that this gets made a title fight and Alex Pereira wins the light heavyweight belt and Izzy has to fight him again?
I mean, that would be the story, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
I heard Jan Blachowicz say in an interview that he's going to try and knock Alex Pereira out. So, with that said, I'm taking Alex Pereira by first round knockout.
I'll take Alex Pereira. I think Pereira's. You can't look past the guy.
Oh no, not in the striking realm. Absolutely not. No,
He reminds me of it's like a fucking. Remember in this light heavyweight stage, the early UFC, where you, what's the guy that fought, roided up, fought Tito, punched him in the face 1,000,000 times.
What?
Vitor?
Vitor, yeah. It reminds me of like a Vitor Belfort at that time, just like coming in and just absolutely destroying everyone, and like nobody knows how to handle him. It doesn't matter how good you are at grappling, how good you are at boxing, you're still not going to be able to beat this guy. Like,
I mean, if you're Jan Blachowicz, you want to army crawl to his legs, right? Like,
Aljamain Sterling,
So if it's a striking match, I'd pick Pereira. But if Jan Blachowicz is just bluffing and tries to grapple and mix it up, I think it makes it a much more even fight. Because if Izzy took Alex down in that first fight and it didn't look, I mean, there's improvements, right? And he's got Glover Teixeira. It's like one of the greatest grapplers in the UFC period, wasn't he? So. But I'm going to take Alex just because I think we're inevitably going to see that Izzy trilogy in MMA. But yeah, scary dude, man.
I'm going to counter and say Jan. And the only thing I think that I don't particularly like about this fight is it's very close to when he got knocked out from Israel.
That's a very good point.
That was what 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, and that was a brutal knockout.
And that was a knocked out completely. And he got one on the ground as well, didn't he? From there, so it's not a lot of time to turn around. From that, and Blachowicz can crack.
Yeah,
you saw what he did to Ankalaev. He just shin to shin.
Yeah,
like, didn't care. I don't care if this hurts me; it's going to hurt you more. And he's always been. I always never thought he was going to win, but then he kept winning. When he beat Reyes for the title, I'm trying to think who he beat before that.
Corey Anderson,
raced for the title. Then he beat Adesanya, his title defense. I don't feel like he showed up in the Glover fight.
No,
I think that was probably the one where he wasn't quite there. But then from there, he's fought like kind of young up and contenders too. Obviously, who did he fight? He fought another guy that was got injured in the fight. Rakic, yeah, but he was doing well in that fight too. So you can. I don't want to count him out because I'd love to see him get the belt back. I think he's a great dude as well, and I think Pereira's only got time as well.
Yeah, of course. Like, I think Alex Pereira, if he wins this fight, is probably going to be in a light heavyweight title shot, and it's mad that he's had maybe 5 fights in the UFC combined,
and 3 of them will be would be title fights.
Because I understood from the middleweight perspective, because Adesanya's just been beating everyone in the storyline, and it's great drama, which is what these events are about, as well as the actual martial arts and that. Main event time. I love this fight. Like I watched it 5 years ago, and it's just going to be an absolute carnage fest, isn't it? Dustin Poirier is a slight favourite because he won the first one by knockout, but I would argue that Gaethje's gotten better in terms of not being as reckless and throwing caution at the wind or whatever. I think the Fiziev fight that he had last was very impressive, especially against a guy that's really educated in like Muay Thai and Tiger. Is it Tiger?
Tiger Muay Thai, in Thailand,
and he's just went from strength to strength. And do you know what's mad? Like they even have the similar kind of first name, and their records since fighting each other are the exact same.
6-2,
and they've lost to the same exact people. Oliveira and Habib.
It's like you couldn't get a closer matchup if you tried the UFC just now.
I don't know, man. Like it's a hard one. They both beat Chandler as well.
I'm going for Dustin. Like,
yeah, I think I would sort of look towards Dustin too. I'd love to see him get the belt one day.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd like to see Justin get the belt one day, but I think Poirier is the more well-rounded martial artist.
100%. That's my reason as well.
But Gagey is just so...
And I think Dustin's been there and done it more times.
Yeah.
You know, he's just slightly more experienced in that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think,
He kind of has a bit of Michael Bisping about him, Dustin Poirier, isn't he? Like, it kind of feels like if he was to ever win the belt, it would be like, after all this
I always feel like Dustin Poirier's almost went full circle in his career. He's been through that shit losses, and he's been fucking battered by McGregor and stuff like that, and then he's just kind of went... I think Gaethje's still coming full circle, if you know what I mean. I think he's still got a while till he gets that belt. Like,
yeah.
Poirier knocking out McGregor was one of like the most shocking things I've ever seen.
I think it was one of the most satisfying nights in the UFC, because it just put to bed so many of these people that are casuals that just sit and watch it for McGregor fights.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, he's going to beat... It's like...
The conversations that were going on before that, like he was talking about boxing Pacquiao and that, like there was still definitely like a perceived like level of like, don't get me wrong, like anything he does, he's such a star. People are going to watch it. There's no doubt about it. But like there was a perceived idea of like where his skill level was at, and I think what it just showed is that you just can't be away from MMA that
People
long.
will catch up and
overtake
you.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You're all on a journey, and like it's hours in the gym and time that you're spent learning. If you don't, and he's away doing other things, and there's no reason.
5 years, somebody said it on a podcast. 5 years he's went from boxing Mayweather to being talked about bare knuckle Mike Perry.
That's true. Yeah,
you know, so that's how much he's fallen in 5 years because he hasn't trained and you know like that.
But I think there's definitely more personal issues going on there than his fight career that probably need to be sorted out before. I personally don't think he's going to fight Chandler. I think it would have been announced by now.
I'm not sure if he is.
He's still not in the USADA testing pool either. So,
and the cut off to get into it was like last month, wasn't it? To get in before the end of the year.
And like I don't think, because for a while he could kind of call whatever he wanted to do, because they had to rely on him so much because of the money factor. Whereas there's a few stars now that are kind of getting, like, you know, Masvidal came about. I know he's retired, but Adesanya's a big one. Volk, you know, Hamzat, and they kind of, they've got the deal with Abu Dhabi to bring the big kind of.
Volk's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Oh, he's awesome. Such a phenomenal fighter, isn't he?
He's a great. Pound for pound, and nobody better than him. Just nobody better than him. I don't think.
That finishing sequence he had against Yair, like, to just be like, you know, obviously cracked him with the counter to the kick, gets him back to the fence, starts teeing off on him. He's guarding, and so he just, like, at that point just dumps him.
Yeah.
Like, why should I stand with this guy and give him the opportunity to throw a counter at me when I can just put him on his back and do the same thing?
Take all his physical advantages away and just lay the smack down on him.
It's like meticulous breakdown of what he needed to do to just minimize the risk to himself. And the Islam fight, that's one of those things too, that Islam won the fight, but you don't feel like Islam won the fight. You feel like Volkanovski won the fight, don't you?
There's such a size difference between the two of them.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's like Volk, I think what will be the end of Volk is constantly moving up and down weights. I think that's what's going to ruin him more than a fighter.
I don't necessarily know. I could see, if I was to sort of write out the sort of the career for him, if he can beat Topuria, I don't think he needs to do anything more at featherweight. No. And if he can win the lightweight belt, maybe have one defense of the lightweight belt, call that a career.
Yeah.
I don't think. Sees him as an easy fight as well.
I know. But I think that's a lot of young... Topuria hasn't been beat.
No, not being beat, but I think, you know, like to be seeing Volk as an easy fight is just dangerous, man. Like, I think you're just fueling him, and you're just fueling.
It's the wrong approach, I think.
Yeah.
But then it might be what he needs to get himself in that frame of mind. You know, to think that, you know, I'm going to beat this guy in the first round. but maybe in his head know that it's going to be sort of a bit of a war of
It's
attrition.
like even regardless, the fighters are Aussies. They're determined people. Like,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you tell them.
And he used to weigh about like 220 pounds when he played
Yeah.
rugby. You've seen those
Yeah,
photos?
yeah,
Jeez.
man.
But
So yeah, I'm going with Dustin for my
Yeah,
pick.
same.
I'm going with Dustin with my pick. Do you think it's by finish or do you think it's by...
it's going to be by. I don't think Gaethje will do 5 rounds.
You don't think you'll get
No,
5 rounds
No.
in?
I think
Took
what-
words right out of my mouth.
there's not going to be this. I don't think there's going to be this technical kind of feeling out process. I think there'll be just. It's kind of like the similar to Chandler. Once they kind of taste that seeing red,
Yeah.
it'll just be 100 miles an hour from there. But
So we've got 3 warriors, so that'll be Gaethje by submission.
yeah,
then?
congratulations, Justin Gaethje.
Can you imagine if he like gets his back and rear naked chokes him?
Yeah.
Like, what?
We'll have you on again next week. We are here to apologise for the absolute horrendous advice that we've given you. But
That's what we should just do. It's just you could just make a segment that's just purely just like the gamblers picks.
yeah.
Sponsored by Aidan Stevens.
Thank you very much for coming on again.
Thank you
dude.
for having me again.
It's
It's always a good
pleasure
fun.
to have you on. Last time, because we didn't have the right setting for it, and we've now kind of built that right setting to have live performances, you are going to give us a live performance. So
Yep.
in the editing, there'll be a crossfade because I'm going to not switch everything up, but reposition the camera, and we'll get Scott set up in that before we head out. Before we go, I need to keep remembering to do this because sometimes I do it and I forget.
Questions for a guest. That's remember.
Yeah, I was going to say
Sorry.
the 5-star review, but
Sorry. Yeah.
sorry, I might be
thought-
being
I thought
might be
you-
too vain in my approach to approaching the people that are listening. And
No, I thought we were not going to finish off every guest with 2 questions.
yeah, well, we could do.
You've got a question.
What's one thing that you overthink?
Music production.
Okay, what's the one thing that makes you happiest?
Oh, that's a good question. Food.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Right, that is it for episode 91.
91.
Enjoy your holiday, my friend.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
have
Yeah,
a
I'm
good
going
one,
to
man.
Spain.
Won't see you
Couldn't wait to
until-
see Sticky Vicky.
Keep that to yourself.
Well, no, don't bring it. Well,
Do you want-
maybe
do you want
maybe
a
don't
very-
bring anything
Do you want a
back.
very
but,
quick one on that? I
Oh,
put,
God,
I put
right,
it in
okay.
the group
Might
chat
as
the other
well.
day. Dominic is in my group chat. One of the guests we had on Dominic's 16.
Oh, God, right,
And I put it
okay.
in the group chat. I was like, right, boys, I'm waiting by the door. I'm waiting to see Sticky Vicky. And I was like, Dominic's in that group chat. I was like, don't Google that. Don't Google that. So, yeah. Anyone else listen, don't Google Sticky Vicky. It's disgusting.
Right. I will see you back in a couple of weeks because we've got Ratch coming on next.
Ratch, yeah, I'm looking forward to that
And then
one,
we've got
mate.
Will Hall coming on from Talk Club. Now, for everyone who's been listening, watching, Apple, Amazon, Spotify with the video, wherever you see us at, 2 seconds, 5-star review, helps us with the algorithm and helps more local people see the show. And from here, we'll do some smooth editing and you'll be seeing some live performances from Scott in just a second. Hey, that's
Well,
nice.
boss is leaving his big old Benz in the promised land. Lures you in just to scratch your name in the cold sand. It's all coming alive, so grab the wheel and drive straight out of town. To watch the time fade away like a sunset to the ground. Subways and islands, skyscrapers and sirens, where I wanna be. Take me back to New York City, where the lights shine brighter and you look so pretty tonight. In the city tonight, I'll take you back to New York City, where the lights shine brighter and you look so pretty tonight. In the city tonight. Your old guitar's behind stained glass with all those dreams. The tides are turning, the stitches tear right out of the seams. You can't believe that you lost your name down in the street. You walk it off down the avenue with the devil at your feet. Subways and islands, skyscrapers and sirens, where I wanna be. Take me back to New York City. City where the lights shine brighter and you look so pretty tonight. In the city tonight. I'll take you back to New York City where the lights shine brighter and you look so pretty tonight. In the city tonight. Oh, City where the lights shine brighter and you look so pretty tonight. In the city tonight. Take you back to New York City where the lights shine brighter and you look so pretty tonight. In the city tonight. In the city tonight. Ooh, yeah.
Nice guy there.
Falling at the side of the road, chasing yesterday. I wave, holding on to hope, waiting for someone. Falling, we fall out and we start again. We're falling, we fall out and we start again. You can't take me anywhere, just drop me up ahead. 1,000 cars just pass me by, I'm on my way. Just take me out of the rain, take me out of the rain, take me out of the rain and start again. You're pulling at the side of the road. Maybe I've been saved. Take me as far as you can go. I'll make my way from there. It doesn't really matter, 'cause I'm still so far from home. It doesn't really matter, I can make it on my own. We're falling, we fall out and we start again. We're falling, we fall out and we start again. You can't take me anywhere, just drop me up ahead. 1,000 cars just pass me by, I'm on my way. Take me out of the rain, and take me out of the rain. Take me out of the rain and start again. Where are we going? I don't know. Tell the truth, I just don't care. You can take me anywhere. Just take me out of the rain. Take me out of the rain. Take me out of the rain and start again. Take me out of the rain and start again. Yeah. Take me out of the rain and start again. Take me out of the rain and start again. says. Thank you.